of the Lake Oswego Development Review Commission. Please call the roll of commissioners present.
Arthur,
Here.
Poinsett,
Here.
Boones,
Here.
Leek,
Here.
O'Connor,
Here.
and Commissioner Bates and Sangri are absent this evening.
Thank you. The meeting will now come to order. We do have a quorum of commissioners present. Our first item of business on tonight's agenda is approval of the draft minutes of the July 17th, 2023 meeting of the DRC. A set of draft minutes have been circulated in advance to the commissioners. Commissioners, are there any changes or additions or revisions to the draft minutes? Any of those?
No.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve. I second it.
We've had a motion and a second to approve the draft minutes of the July 17th, 2023 meeting as submitted. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstaining? Very good, those minutes are approved. We now move ahead to consideration of the draft findings for LU 22-0059. Now, as you may recall, this is a request for a development review permit to construct 23 townhouses with a minor variance in order to reduce the required rear yard setback from 25 to 20 feet for units D16 and D23 of the development. A modification was also included to modify LU 18-0024, a previously adopted plan for the townhouses, in order to decrease the mitigation tree planting size and shrub planting size. And a major variance was requested to reduce minimum landscape planting sizes from 2 gallon to 1 gallon for shrubs and from 3-inch caliper to 1.5-inch caliper for trees. Finally, the removal of 5 trees was proposed for development purposes. We did receive, in advance of tonight's meeting, a draft set of findings, but before addressing those, we did have an evidentiary point to resolve. And we have here a draft form of order on evidence relating to LU 22-0059. Professional staff or city attorney, did you have something you wanted to add before we entertain this? I know there are a couple of corrections.
Yes, other than the corrections, nothing.
Okay. Deputy City Attorney Boone did point out that on the draft order on evidence circulated in advance on LU 22-0059, there are 2 revisions. One of them is on line 25 of the first page, where the phrase appears noted an addition sentence. It should read an additional sentence, adding an AL, and I can provide this to staff. And then at the top of page 2, there's a reference to council. Continuing with the sentence from page 1, identify before the council, and the word council should be changed to commission. And thank you, City Attorney, for pointing that out to us. Commissioners, are there other changes to the draft order on evidence? If not, no. Is there a motion?
I move that the minutes, or the findings, I should say, for LU 22-0059 be approved.
So as I'm understanding it, this is the order on evidence with the suggested revisions.
Correct.
But Mr. Chair, Mr. O'Connor, at least as to our records, you abstained from the previous.
That's correct.
So you should continue to abstain from this case as well.
Very good.
From the adoption of the written materials.
Well, thank you for that point of order, and I appreciate the motion. Is there
If that's
someone
the
willing
case,
to make a motion?
I will make the same motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Or few seconds.
Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Dews and seconds by Commissioner Leek and Vice Chair Poinsett. Are we able to take an oral vote, or should we take a roll call on this?
It has to be sufficient so that the recording secretary can note the
Let's
ayes and nays.
please take a roll call on the motion.
Chair Arthur,
Yes.
Poinsett,
Yes.
Boones,
Yes.
Leek,
Yes. Yes.
O'Connor,
Abstain.
401.
Very good. The draft order on evidence with amendments is approved. We now move to the draft findings, conclusions, and order on LU 22-0059. Again, a draft form of findings, conclusions, and order were circulated to commissioners in advance of tonight's meeting. Are there any revisions to the draft findings on LU 22-0059? If not, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the request for development review permit on LU 23-0009.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Arthur,
Yes.
Poinsett,
Yes.
Dews,
Yes.
Leek,
Yes.
O'Connor.
Abstain.
Very good. The motion passes, and I do think, if I could comment, that this is a constructive move forward for Lake Oswego. I know the discussion of affordable housing has been at the forefront of many citizens' thoughts and discussion for many years, starting at least from the early 2000s, if not before. So let's move ahead now to LU 23-0009. If you recall, this is a request for a development review permit to construct additions onto an existing duplex in the downtown redevelopment design district, including a design variance to reduce the rear yard setback from 10 feet to 7.5 feet. And again, this site is located at 585th Street and 595th Street. We appreciate the professional staff's preparation of a draft findings for this item. And I would ask, and it was circulated in advance to us, do commissioners have any changes to this draft approval of the application? And is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve LU 23-009.
I second it.
Thank you. Let's call the roll, please.
Arthur,
Yes.
Poinsett,
Yes.
Dews,
Yes.
Leek,
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Very
Five.
good. The findings as submitted have been approved. Thank you. Moving ahead to our next agenda item, LU 23-0013, which is a request for approval of a minor development lot line adjustment between tax lots 200 and 300, as well as a 3-parcel minor petition of adjusted tax lots 200, including 2 flag lots, a resource protection district stream and wetline delineation and buffer averaging proposal, and a major variance to increase the total number of lots served by an access lane, increasing it from 3 to 6, as well as the removal of 9 trees for development purposes. We did receive in advance of the meeting a draft set of findings, conclusions, and order on LU 23-0010. So I'll ask again, commissioners, if you have any suggested revisions to this draft findings. And if not, I would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve with conditions as designated by the staff.
This draft findings, conclusions, and order.
Yes.
Thank you for that motion.
I second.
Thank you very much for the second. Please call the roll.
Arthur,
Yes.
Poinsett,
Yes.
Dews,
Yes.
Leek,
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
5-0.
Very good. The findings, conclusion, and order on LU 23-0010 are approved as submitted. We now move into a public hearing on LU 23-0020. That's LU 23-0020, which is a request for approval of a 2-parcel minor petition, a development review permit to construct 2 townhomes in the Old Town Neighborhood Design District, and removal of 1 tree for construction purposes. This site is located at 57 and 59 View Court in Lake Oswego. Our staff coordinator this evening is Evan Franstead, Senior Planner. City Attorney Boone, would you lead us into the hearing, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The public hearing process will be as follows. First, a presentation by staff, then testimony by the applicant up to 20 minutes. Testimony by parties in support of the application, followed by testimony by parties opposed to the application, and finally, testimony by those neither for nor against the application. Individuals will be allowed up to 5 minutes. Any person in attendance may cede his or her time for testimony to another person, except to the applicant. But in no case shall any person's testimony be increased to greater than 10 minutes. Recognized neighborhood associations, homeowner associations, government or government agencies, or other incorporated public interest organizations will be allowed up to 10 minutes. These time limits do not include time spent responding to questions from the commission. Testimony by attorneys, representatives, and witnesses on behalf of which part of the presentation by a person shall be counted within that person's time limit. It is assumed the person is testifying on their own behalf unless they expressly identify the recognized neighborhood association, homeowner association, government or government agency, or other incorporated public interest organization they are representing. After testimony in favor, opposed, to neither for nor against, and the applicant's rebuttal, up to 5 minutes, which will follow, and then commission deliberation, including a statement to the applicant by the commission of any proposed conditions of approval different than contained in the staff report, and the applicant's response to the commission's conditions of approval proposed following commission deliberation. As stated in the public notice, the deadline for submission of written materials was noon today. No written materials may be submitted to commission tonight. Any person may request an opportunity to present additional evidence by requesting a continuation of the public hearing. This land use request is to be considered based upon the applicable criteria and standards, which is listed in the staff report, which was available online and from the planning department. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable criteria. Please identify to the commission the criteria standards you're addressing so the commission may consider your testimony in relation to the criteria standards. If you do not, the commission is not obliged to guess which standards or criteria you're testifying about and may not consider your testimony in its decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes raising the issue to the City Council and the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. The failure of the applicant to raise any constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with specificity to allow the commission to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Potential conflict of interest declared on behalf of each of the DIC members to the extent of their business or employment, which each will identify. Unless declared otherwise, the respective DRC member does not have a known present or anticipated future business relationship with the project or applicant. It's possible that a future business relationship could arise in the initiation, design, construction, or maintenance of the project through either the employment or business of DRC member personally, or through a relative as defined in ORS 244.020. At this point, I would ask the commission members to please declare if you've had any ex parte contacts, including a site visit, if you have any bias on the application, any financial conflicts of interest, and please state your business or employment. Commissioner Lee.
I am a realtor broker in the city of Lake Oswego. I have no biases. I have no economic interests. I know exactly where the site is because I live in Lake Oswego. And I know the applicant, but I have had no ex parte involvement whatsoever.
Thank you, Commissioner Lee. Commissioner Poinsett, Vice Chair Poinsett.
My name is Bruce Poinsett. I'm a construction safety consultant with the firm GEW out of Battleground, Washington. I've had no contact, no ex parte contact. I know where the site is. I've passed by it, and that's it.
Thank you. I'm Randy Arthur. I'm a civil litigation attorney with the Portland, Oregon law firm of Bullivan Bailey. I have had no ex parte contacts. I have no financial interest in the application. I've not made a site visit. I have no disqualifying bias. I did receive a list of names to run through my law firm's conflict system prior to this hearing and did not discover any real or actual or perceived or apparent conflicts. Thank you.
My name is Russ O'Connor. I'm a retired construction project manager. I have no financial conflicts, no ex parte contact. I did have my home designed by the Olson Group, who's the architect on this project, in 1987. And I've had two construction projects approximately 10 to 12 years ago where the Olson Group was retained by the owners of the property that I was managing. I have no bias, and that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Dews?
Yes, my name is John Dews. I am an architect. I have not made a specific site visit. I've had no ex parte contacts, nor do I have any bias or any financial conflicts of interest.
Thank you. Is there any challenge to Commissioner's right to consider the application? Not Senior Planner Evan Friendstead for the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Boone and members of the commission. The application before you is a request of approval of a two-parcel minor partition, a development review permit to construct 2 townhomes in the Old Town Neighborhood Design District, and removal of 1 tree for construction purposes. Here's the location map. The site has frontage on Leonard Street and View Court, both local streets. The site is zoned RDD and located within the Old Town Design District. Properties to the south and west are also located in the RDD zone, developed with detached single-family and multiple-family dwellings. The properties to the north and east are zoned EC and developed with commercial buildings. Here's the existing conditions survey. The site is approximately 9,542 square feet and is currently developed with an existing duplex and garage, both of which will be demolished as part of the project. Here's the preliminary partition plat, or plan. The proposal includes a 2-parcel partition. The minimum lot size in RDD for townhomes is 1,500 square feet. Each lot will be 4,771 square feet and 37.5 feet in width, meeting dimensional standards. And here's the site plan that shows the footprint of the townhomes. The proposal includes 2 townhomes, 1 unit on each lot, or each parcel, labeled as Site A and Site B on the site plan. The plan shows required setbacks and maximum lot coverage will be met. The proposed impervious surface area on parcel 1 exceeds the maximum 60% standard, so staff is recommending condition of approval C3 that requires the applicant to submit a revised site plan at the time of building permit that shows no more than 60% impervious surface on each parcel. The existing hedge along the west lot line will be replaced with a new Irish yew hedge to comply with the landscaping buffering standard that's required abutting the EC zone to the west. As indicated with the red X there, there's a 14-inch weeping cherry tree that's proposed for removal for construction of the townhomes, where the front porch is located for parcel 1. Staff finds removal of the cherry tree complies with the applicable tree removal criteria. 2 new Japanese Tuardia trees are proposed to be planted in the front yard along Leonard Street as mitigation. Here's a perspective drawing from the northwest. This shows the design of the townhomes. Apparently it's winter time and there's snow on the ground. Structures constructed in the Old Town Neighborhood Design are subject to the Old Town Neighborhood Design standards that requires one of the 3 traditional American home styles. So the first one, it could be either early 1900 vernacular style, or craftsman style, or Cape Cod style. The applicant proposed a blend of the craftsman style with Cape Cod style roof pitch and siding elements, which requires a discretionary level of review. The townhomes meet the craftsman style in the following elements. It has 2-story maximum, rectangular composition, roof eave overhangs of minimum 2 feet, single hung casement and picture windows, moldings a minimum 3.5 inches wide, trim on the windows, and minimum 5 inches around all the doors. The proposed front porch is 7.5 feet and half the width of the front facade, supported by tapered square pedestal columns. Here's a view from the southeast along View Court. The proposed roof design is primarily composed of gable roof forms with additional shed dormers in a blend of Craftsman and Cape Cod styles. The roof pitches vary from meeting the Craftsman requirement of minimum 312 pitch to a maximum 612 pitch, to the upper level gable side dormers that have a maximum of 1210, which are required as allowed in the Cape Cod style. Old Town Design Principles, Section 3D, entitled Provide Context Sensitivity, state the design should take into account proximity to existing uses, height and massing relationships, supporting building character, street widths and functions, open spaces, and view corridors. Excuse me. Staff concurs with the applicant that the proposed dormers on the upper level with 1210 pitches reduces the roof and wall massing compared to dormers with a lower pitch of the Craftsman style that spread out for a wider roof area, which this better meets the design principles to provide context sensitivity in Section 3D. The proposed exterior building materials include hardy fiber plank horizontal siding in the style of wood clapboard. Wood shingles are proposed as accent siding in the upper gables. Engineering or composite wood is permitted in the Cape Cod style. As explained in the applicant's narrative, the composite siding has a longer life cycle, is more sustainable and durable than wood siding. Staff finds the proposed composite siding in the Cape Cod style results in a similar appearance as wood siding and better meets the design principles for high-quality materials and sustainable architectural design. Staff finds the proposed design is equal to or better meets the design principles and purposes of the Old Town style building siding massing standards and building design and material standard. In conclusion, staff recommends approval of LU 23-0020, subject to the conditions listed in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. At this juncture, Commissioners, are there questions for the professional staff? Commissioner Leek?
I just have a quick question. You mentioned there would be shakes in the gables of some areas of the building. Where would those be, going back to the sketch? Would that be on the other side? I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, maybe I should show the elevation plans here. Let me, just in case someone asks such questions. I think it shows better.
Oh, there they are.
There they are.
Okay, that's good. That's cool. I
Yeah.
just thought I'd ask. Because I think it adds a lot of character to it. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff at this point? Hearing none, I would like to invite the applicant to come forward, please. The applicant owner is Michael Healy, trustee, if I'm reading that correctly, and the applicant's representative is the Olson Group Architects. Good evening.
I'm Michael.
Nice to have you with us.
Okay. Hi, my name is Curtis Olson with Olson Group Architects. I represent the owner applicant on the project. I'm with, our address is 17150 Southwest Upper Boones Ferry Road in Durham, Oregon. And we proposed a project here to put a 2-unit townhouse kind of at the periphery of the DD zone. Makes a transition between lower density single families that are more in the heart of DD, and here we're on the edge, moving to the north and to the west where we're abutting commercial property. There's currently a duplex or a multi-unit structure on the site, so we're replacing 2 units with 2 units. So we're not increasing the density. We made an effort to reach out both to adjacent neighbors individually and hold a neighborhood meeting per the requirements of development in the DD zone, and held that meeting, and I felt we had pretty positive results from that. We chose to try to blend the style of it to try to minimize the visual impact and try to present more of a 1.5-story from the alley side of things rather than a full 2-story with a Craftsman roof pitch requirement, and therefore that was a request for the blending of the 2 styles. Trying to choose materials that, again, probably are maybe non-combustible, better long-term choice than necessarily putting, in a painted sense, a resource of natural wood in a spot where it's just not going to perform as well. And that is really pretty much our presentation. I think staff has made a thorough depiction of our project.
Well, we appreciate your being here and providing those comments. Commissioners, are there questions of the applicant or the applicant's representative?
Just one question. Do you anticipate this be townhouses for real estate sale?
Yes.
I'm hoping to move into one, but we'll definitely be selling one. They won't be rentals.
Thank you.
Either way, that wouldn't be a criteria, so.
Yes.
Any other questions of the applicant or applicant's representative? Any further comments you'd like to make in your opening presentation?
I've never done anything like this before. I'm very excited. I just found out today my loan got approved, so.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully it's one piece of good news. But anyway, I'm excited. I currently live in the Holly Orchard neighborhood at the other end of Lake Oswego, and I've always wanted to live in the downtown area of Lake Oswego, so I'm hoping to end up there.
Good, well, we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll now invite testimony, if any, from the public, beginning with any witnesses who wish to testify either in person or by web-based video conference in favor of the application. Are there witnesses wishing to testify in favor?
No.
Seeing none, are there witnesses who wish to testify in opposition to the pending application? This would be in opposition to the application. No. And I understand we have one witness who wishes to speak neither for nor against, who's signed up in advance. Mr. Doug Thomas, would you please come forward and join us? Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state your address and name.
Sure. My name is Doug Thomas. I live at 208 Durham Street,
Thank you.
which is also on View Court. I like a provocative file, but I basically want to talk about the end of View Court, the physical end of it. So this is a picture of looking at down View Court from Durham Street, looking west. The house on the left is where my wife and I live. We moved there last year. It's 208 Durham Street. On the right, the blue house, that's the garage for the 5759. You can't see the house in this angle. And the red garage is the Culver residence. I believe that's 68 Leonard Street. So even though there's 3 different streets here, all of the garages open onto View Court. So it's used for that. Also in the very back is the Lake Place Shopping Center. I'll get a close picture there. And yeah, that's my dog. So here's looking at the stars where we've taken the picture. Same kind of map as you saw before, looking towards the Lake Place shopping area. The area above, just north of where you can see Monster T, Lake Oswego, that circle, that's a parking lot that I think is owned by the Oswego Village across Leonard Street. It's used mostly for people going to the physical therapy shop that's right across from Leonard Street. I think a lot of people use it for if they're going overflow parking for Lake Place, which happens especially around lunchtime. And then I'm going to get a little closer here on this next photo. And now we're looking at the very end of the street with the garage on the right and a large hedge and a couple utility boxes, and you can see the Lake Place Shopping Center. So when I talk to people about it, most people think there's a fence. I mean, this is a dead-end street. Of course, no cars, no bikes, no walkers. If you want to walk it, you have to hop a chain link fence there, which you can see just above the utility boxes. And most people think that fence goes all the way down the property line on the other side of View Court, and it doesn't. The red line is where the fence is. So for, I don't know, I assume decades, it's been a dead-end street because of the large hedge, which I know will be replaced. They have to construct it. I totally understand that. It says 12 inches, if I'm reading the construction right, is what the hedge will be. I assume there might be some other things there. I don't know. But if during construction, and I don't know how long construction takes, a year, maybe 2, the nature of the street of View Court will change when the hedge is taken away. And I don't know if that's something that the city wants to review or look at. I just wanted to make people aware of it. We're going to swap pictures. I'm going to go on the other side of the hedge now and go to the parking lot. And the red line is the hedge, is the chain link fence, which is hidden from the hedge. But from the parking lot all the way down, that hedge area will be gone with construction. I don't know about the retaining wall there, but again, it's a curb, a couple steps, and you can easily walk into View Court. Where I'm standing, if I turn around, I'm facing State Avenue, so it's very exposed to the area of walking through. And it's just not this area. The Lake Place shopping area, you can get around there, and people do from time to time. We hear them because I'm right there next door. So you'll be able to walk from Lake Place shopping through View Court into Old Town. So again, I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just saying the nature changes of the street. I like the privacy, but I also know things change. But I just didn't know if there was some temporary fencing that would go up or how that's addressed. I'm sure Michael has plans of once he's living there, he doesn't want people trampling through 12 inches of hedge or whatever. But it just kind of changes the area, and most people think it's fenced, and it's not. So looking at the map again, the red line is the fencing, which kind of goes all the way around the Lake Place shopping mall. And there's a gate where Nicoletta's is, you can go in there, but the gate's there. And then basically the hedge is the other part of the fencing that keeps View Court a dead-end street. And then lastly, there is a tree that's not mentioned because I don't think it's on the property line. I think the property line's the little flag. It's at the end of View Court, right in the middle by the utility boxes. I just want to make sure it's not knocked over accidentally as they take out the hedge. I've lived in Lake Oswego for a year. I know we take our trees seriously. It's a good-sized tree. It also blocks a really harsh light from the parking lot into View Court. So I don't think the fence gets removed. I don't know that if it's on the property line, and I assume the tree is. I just looking to make sure that stays there. And that's my time.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for
Do you-
Mr. Thomas?
Do you happen to know who put the fence up? Does anyone know who put the fence up, Mike?
Well,
I would think the shopping center.
there may be people watching on TV.
Oh,
Okay, so we need to have responses to questions in the appropriate time before the microphones.
okay.
So you don't know who put the fence up or who owns it?
I don't. It's the same type of fence that goes around the shopping area, so I assume them, but I don't know.
So you haven't contacted the owner of the
No.
shopping center to find out?
Nope.
Any other questions of the witness? Well, we appreciate your clear and detailed testimony, and the visual aids are also very helpful. Thank you for bringing this all to our attention.
Great. Thank you.
Are there other witnesses who are neutral and wish to testify in connection with the pending application? If not, is this the time for rebuttal? City Attorney, we'd invite rebuttal, if any, from the applicant.
So I believe that fence is an extension of the shopping center fence, and I don't think it's on my property. I do plan on having probably cedar fence the entire length out to the appropriate point above Leonard Street. And then, of course, whatever hedge is necessary there, because I also would be concerned about privacy. And whether it ties in with that little piece of fence, I can't really say here right now, but I'm sure it can be worked out. So I don't really see a problem with it.
I think during the course of construction, the existing laurel hedge will be removed. Probably that portions of that chain link fence will be removed. There will be construction fencing, temporary construction fencing in place at the time because we want to secure building site and not encourage traffic either from behind the shopping center or from the parking lot below to be coming into the site. Then ultimately, near the completion of the project, when the hedge gets planted and a permanent fence gets placed, it'll be extended to what would be the southwest corner of the property, closest to probably in the vicinity of where those electrical boxes would be. And then there's not much we can do from there southward in the right-of-way of View Court.
Very good. Other questions of these witnesses? There was some discussion of a small tree near a property line. Is it accurate that that is not on your property?
That would be my understanding. Is if it's behind those utility boxes, it's not on my property. My
Well, any-
property starts at least 10 feet or more north of those utility boxes.
We'd still provide required tree protection fencing, even if it's off-site property that's impacted by our construction.
Yeah,
So
if
that'd be
there's any
required as
danger
part
at
of
all,
the,
it'll be fine.
Good, that's what I was going to ask about, any protective measures.
Yep.
Very good. Any other questions of the applicant on rebuttal? Anything else you'd like to add during your rebuttal period? City
you.
Attorney Boone, can you lead us out of the hearing?
Prior to closing the public hearing, any person may request an opportunity to present additional evidence. If a request is made, the public hearing would be either continued to a date certain, not less than 7 days later, or the record would remain open for at least 7 days after the hearing to enable additional written evidence or testimony to be submitted, and the commission would establish the period for any rebuttal written evidence to be submitted. Is there any request to continue the hearing? Hearing none. Unless waived by the applicant, the commission will allow the applicant at least 7 days after the record is closed to all other parties to submit final written argument in support of the application. That information would be considered part of the record but would not include any new evidence. Does the applicant wish to submit final written argument? Nope. You may proceed to deliberation, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioners, what are your thoughts on this application? Commissioner Leek?
You knew I had something to say, didn't you? I usually do. I think this is exactly what the city needs. This is quality construction, taking something old that's economically not as functional and putting 2 new properties, which bring a lot of taxes for one thing, and it's well designed, it's well thought through. I think it's a win-win.
Thank you for those comments. Any other commissioners wish to comment?
Yes, I would agree as well.
Thank you. If there are no further comments or deliberations, is there a motion?
I would make a motion to approve LU 23-0020 with the conditions as listed in the staff report.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Arthur?
Yes.
Poinsett?
Yes.
Boones?
Yes.
Leek?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. This application is provisionally approved pending written findings.
Tentative decision will be brought back on August 21st at 7 p.m.? 7 p.m.
Thank you. We now move forward on our agenda to the schedule review and management update. Manager Hasty?
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. I do have one hearing scheduled for August 21st, the next DRC hearing. That is a tree appeal. That staff report will be published on August 11th and then sent out to you. We'll also have, as Mr. Boone noted, adoption of findings for tonight's hearing. I don't have any public hearings scheduled after September 6th at this point, but I did want to remind you that there were some work sessions with Director Numanolu, possibly City Engineer Erica Rooney. And those are tentatively on your schedule. And depending on whether or not another public hearing comes through on the 6th or whether or not the tree appeal is continued, we might possibly be able to go remote on September 6th. But we'll make that final decision on August 21st after we see what happens with that public hearing. I do want to remind you of the email I just sent out about the forum with the mayor about emergency management. I know Commissioner Poinsett has said that he would like to attend. Would encourage all of you to attend if you can. I also want to remind you to let Kat Kluge know if you have any upcoming outages. The dates that we have, looking forward, I wanted to bring it to your attention because I am going to be out on October 2nd, the first hearing in October, and also the second hearing in October, and that's the 16th. I will be out of the office for a month. So I am assuming that either Director Numanalu will step in, or whoever is covering for the planning manager position. So with that, I don't think I have anything else. I'm happy to answer any questions about any previous communication or any questions that the DRC has.
Any questions or comments for Manager Hasty? I did want to thank the commissioners for responding to the survey on boards and commissions.
Yes, thank you.
That recently was circulated, and it took 2 or 3 reminders before I finally capitulated and responded, but I
Hopefully it was
appreciated
painless.
that.
Yeah.
Is there any other business before us this evening? Very good. If not, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.